So these nuggets are made from chicken, but they're made to emulate the taste of like non-chicken nuggets. So these nuggets are made from chicken, but they're made to emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope. Let's boost that sound quality. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope. Non-chicken nuggets. Non-chicken nuggets. But they're made to emulate the taste of vegan nuggets. Sounds tasty.
Welcome, everybody. You made it. This is Podcasting 101, brought to you by Descript. My name is Arielle Nissenblatt. Who are you?
Hey, Arielle, how's it going? Hey, everyone. My name is Harmony. I'm a customer success manager and product specialist here at Descript.
Very excited to have you here today, Harmony, and excited to teach everybody about podcasting, Podcasting 101, all the things you need to know in order to podcast and to make your podcast better. So we've got a packed hour for you today. We're going to touch on a lot of different things. In a moment, I'm going to share my screen so that I can go through the agenda with you. But first, Harmony, we do these sessions a lot. We love to teach about podcasting. We love to teach about video podcasting. We had a session last week called Descript for Beginners. Would you like to just recap for folks what we touched on in that session?
Yeah, we're going to cover a lot of the same concepts. Basically, how to get up and running in Descript. We focus primarily on recording or importing your audio, editing it down like a text document, being able to add things like music and sound effects, how to easily use AI functions to edit down your first rough draft, be able to like pull out social clips. So if you want to create teasers for your shows, we can do that really easily. And then how to publish, how to get it out of Descript and to your audience.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that recap. If you're interested in checking out Descript for Beginners, check out our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. We have so many events taking place, usually once a week. We'd love to teach you how to use Descript, how to use any sort of digital content creator products that will help make your podcasting and video creation journey more easy. So let's get to today's session. We're going to be doing Podcasting 101 with Harmony and Arielle. As I said, that's Harmony. I'm Arielle. What are we going to cover today? Let's get to that. So today we are going to welcome you, which we have already successfully done. So let's check that off the list. Next, we'll just do a brief, what is Descript? Then we'll talk about what is podcasting, what brings you here. And then we'll specifically touch on what is podcasting in Descript. We'll have a demo, and then we'll spend the last 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how things shake out, doing some Q&A. But before we get to all of that, a few reminders. I would love for folks to use the chat, ask questions in the chat. We are live right now on YouTube. This will also be available later. So if you need to duck out, if you can only make it for half of the session, but you want to then check out the second half that you missed, come back to our YouTube page and just press play, and we'll be here forevermore. And you can check out anything that you missed. But while you are just joining us, while we're tuning in for the first few minutes, tell us who you are. Do you have a podcast? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you already use Descript? Do you use different softwares? Let us know in the chat. Keep that chat going. Make some podcast friends. Do you have specific questions? You can join our office hours, or you can submit a ticket. In a few moments, I'm going to share a QR code so that you can learn more about our office hours. If we freeze while we're live right now on YouTube, just refresh your browser and let us know that you're back. We'd love to know that you've made it back safely to us. This session is recorded, like I said, and we will not only have it available on YouTube, but we will also send out an email where you'll have a link right to it. And if you need more help, if you have more specific questions about using Descript or how to podcast, go to help.descript.com. That's our help center. And then we also have our Discord, and you can go there for community support. That's discord.gg/Descript. Shout out right now to Harmony, of course, shout out to you. Shout out to Marcelo, who is in the chat answering questions as we go for the next hour or so. He's going to be trying his hardest to keep up with the chat. I know there are a lot of you already in here who are asking questions. We're going to save a bunch of those questions to the end, but Marcelo is also going to try his darndest to answer them as we go. Let me share something fun that we are going to save that we're making available for folks who are just here today. If you are new to Descript, or you are currently on our free plan and you want to try out Descript Pro for free, we want you to do that. You can use the code CASTPOD at checkout. That's podcast backwards, CASTPOD at checkout. I had some fun with that one. And this, again, is for people who are either new to Descript or who are currently on our free plan. We're going to show you a lot of things today that are available for the Pro plan, and a lot of things that are available for the free plan as well. But if you want to check out all of the possibilities that are available to you within Descript, use code CASTPOD at checkout. And with that, I'm going to now just put up a QR code so that we can get you right to that. So here is your month free of Descript Pro with using the code CASTPOD. So if you just scan that QR code, that was a good point. If you scan that QR code, you will be taken right to that page, and you'll be able to input your information and get your free month of Descript Pro. Again, we'll send out an email at the end so that you can make sure that you don't miss this opportunity. And one other thing I want to show folks before we get started is our Discord community. We have an amazing Discord community. 18,000 plus people are hanging out there. So if you scan this QR code, you can join us there. And we have office hours there. We have a Q&A forum where you can get your questions answered. You can also, meet other podcasters, meet other YouTube creators, meet people who are using Descript for various reasons, and make some friends that way. If you join us right now, make sure to go into the introductions channel and say hello. I always like to see who comes straight from our events. That's a really fun way to build some community. Okay, I will show these QR codes again towards the end of our session. But for now, Harmony, let's get back to our little slideshow. And let's talk about what is Descript. So what is it?
So in a nutshell, Descript is a collaborative audio and video editor that works a lot like a doc. So if you can edit a Word document, you can absolutely use Descript. There's a ton of AI features infused throughout, which we'll cover some of those today. But that's it at its core. It's an editor that is very frictionless, easy to use, and we're excited to share it with you today.
Awesome. And I think most people know what podcasting is, but I think the reason I put podcasting ? At this point in our syllabus is because I wanted to find out what folks are coming to us with today. What kind of experience level do you have podcasting? So this is really an opportunity for folks to sound off in the chat. Let us know if you have a podcast, how long have you been doing it? What kind of problems are you looking to solve as you are in this session today? What's your main pain point? We want to know that so that we can best help you as we go. Harmony and I know a lot about this topic, Podcasting 101, so we can sort of tailor this to make sure that we get your questions answered. And of course, Marcelo in the chat is going to help as well. So throw your questions into the chat. Let us know what kind of podcaster you are. Let us know what kind of questions you have, and we'll incorporate all of that into our conversation today. Okay, so now we're going to go to podcasting in Descript. We've got a demo for you. We're going to touch on a number of things. This is the full syllabus. We'll keep coming back to it. We're going to talk about how to record into Descript, how to record into SquadCast. We'll talk about what that is. We'll talk about bringing files into Descript and transcribing them, making edits to your transcript and your files, adding music, sound effects, and other media. We are going to talk about using basic AI features to make your editing process easier. We'll create some clips for social media, and we will briefly touch on video podcasting. This isn't necessarily video podcasting 101. We can do that in the future. And then we're just going to end with how to export your products to their next stage. These are all the things we're going to hit today. I'm going to allow Harmony now to share her screen. We'll get into the first bullet point, which is recording into Descript, and then we'll come back and share what we're up to next. Ready, Harmony?
Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Perfect. All right. So again, if you're brand new to Descript, just jump right in, whether you want to record or upload some pre-existing audio or video. If you're logged in, this is what you'll see when you land in Descript. This is what we call the drive view. And you have a couple different workspaces that you can manage. I like to think of this a lot like Google Drive or Dropbox. So all of your folders and projects over here on the right. If you're ready to jump right in and start recording, you're just going to hit this blue button here. And today we're going to keep it pretty focused on audio only workflows, but a lot of what we're showing you also applies to video as well. So let's talk about how we record audio directly into Descript. So we're going to click on the new blue button, and we're going to click on the second option here, audio project. And what that's basically going to bring up is a blank document that I can essentially work from, kind of a lot like a canvas. So in this case, I'm going to title my recording here. I'll just name this Harmony's recording. It will be epic. Cool. And then you're going to see this record option here. You can click on that. You can also access recording in the top menu here where you see some of these icons. It's just that record button. You're going to see 3 different options. One is audio only. You can also do a camera recording. Sorry, you're seeing 2 of me. And then you can also do a screen recording. So those are your 3 options. We're going to do audio only. And before you get going, I would recommend checking out your recorder settings to make sure you have this configured appropriately. You can give yourself a countdown. That'll give you a 3, 2, 1 countdown. Descript transcribes everything that you either record or upload. So you can select your transcription language. We transcribe up to 23 different languages here. Then if you're recording video, there's some things related to screen resolution and all that good stuff. So you can configure that here. Last but not least, I don't need to record any computer audio, so I'm going to leave that disabled. I'm going to select my microphone. I want to use my Shure MV7. I think as a new podcaster, this is a worthy investment. Probably not using your built-in microphone, but getting a nice like USB mic. Doesn't need to be anything fancy, but something of that nature. And then I'm just going to put in what we call our speaker labels so that we know who's talking. And I'm going to go ahead and just record into the script. Hopefully this will be quick. So let's click record here. There's that countdown. Okay. Welcome to Harmony's Kitchen. Today, I'm going to share one of my favorite home remedies for when you're feeling under the weather. It's super simple. The ingredients are, see here, turmeric, garlic, ginger, lemon, honey, and some hot water. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to push stop. Okay, cool. So
That was
as you
beautiful.
can see, I eventually, hopefully, will use Descript for my own personal projects, but I'll get around to it. So we can see it caught all of my filler words, and this is kind of the magic of it. I can just highlight that filler word and simply hit delete. And that gets rid of that audio. I'm just going to go ahead and play this real quick. Welcome to Harmony's Kitchen. Today, I'm going to share one of my favorite. So right off the bat, I can do things like removing filler words. I can delete or ignore them. I like using ignore. And check this out. I'm going to go back up to the top here. Welcome to Harmony's Kitchen. Today, I'm cool. And then I can get rid of, okay, that's enough. So when you make changes to the text, makes changes to the underlying audio, and it's that simple. Arielle, anything else related to recording direct into Descript that I missed?
I think that covers it. So that is just the process of if you are recording solo and you just want to record your own voice into Descript, you would just press the record button, record, it'll transcribe it for you, and then you can go ahead and make any changes that you want.
Exactly. Yep. And I love using the recorder, the built-in recorder, especially if I need to do like a quick pickup or like an intro, outro. Whereas if the meat and potatoes of my podcast is interview style and it's done remotely, then I would use SquadCast for that purpose. And I'll pull that up and show you guys how to use this. But Arielle, what's SquadCast?
One quick point that I want to make that Michael Britt shares is that if you take out too many ums and ahs, the result sounds robotic and not natural. And that is a really good point that I want to make sure that folks are aware of. Harmony shared before that she doesn't like to necessarily delete all of her ums and ahs. She just likes to ignore them. Why would that be the case, Harmony?
Yeah. So for example, if to Michael's point here, if it doesn't sound super natural and I want to bring back one of these ums, like let's say if I play from here, super simple, the ingredients are, yep. So if I'm like, oh, that sounded a little, too jerky
maybe,
or halted. Yeah, I can select it. I can unignore it. And it's as simple as that. That way it'll bring that audio back. And so the benefit is that by ignoring it, I can track my editorial decisions as I go through versus if I delete it. I kind of have to search for that edit point, which you can see with those double lines, but it's just like a little bit harder to find when and if you have made those cuts. And then let's say if I want to bring that back, I have to then go into the timeline and get it back by peeling that this clip back. Does that help?
Yes, that was perfect. Thank you so much. I think it's important to make sure that your podcast sounds natural, but of course, it is totally up to you as the creator of that podcast. Maybe you want it to sound very quick. Maybe you want all of your ums and ahs totally out, but it's good to have the option. So that again was the ability to record right within Descript. And now we're going to talk about recording into SquadCast. We're up to the second in our bullet points of what we're going to cover today. So what is SquadCast? What is remote recording? Why would one use it?
Absolutely. So, remote recording is a way to record guests remotely. So, for example, I'm in San Diego, Arielle's in New York. So it's a great, I would say, replacement for tools like Zoom. The benefit is that both people that are on the call are recorded on their own separate channels, so that once I'm ready to bring my interview into Descript, I can remove things like crosstalk and background noise without affecting the other speaker's audio. So right now, if you wanted to create or start a remote recording, we'd go to that new button and we'd choose the fourth item here, remote recording. One thing I'd recommend before selecting this is you'll want to connect your Descript account to a SquadCast account. So you can do that by going into your settings here. And this is going to be in the subscription tab. And you're just going to see an option. I've already connected my account. You're just going to follow the prompts and click on connect to SquadCast, follow those prompts, and it will sign you up. Okay, so if I click on remote recording, that will launch SquadCast in your browser of choice. And I'm just going to bring this over here in my other screen. And right now, you're seeing your dashboard view. So here, I just have one show that I've created. You can create multiple shows, so very similar to the hierarchy and nomenclature in Descript. So you have a couple different workspaces, so very similar concept with shows. In this dashboard view, over on the right, you'll be able to see all past recordings that you've created. And then you can also create new sessions. So very similar to opening up Zoom, you can create a session right away, or you can schedule one for the future. I've scheduled this one here so it'll show up in my upcoming sessions. You can also favorite recurring sessions. So for example, if Arielle and I had a podcast that we recorded every week, I'd probably favorite it and then just keep coming back to it and recording new sessions. Once you're ready to start the session, just click on Start Session. That'll take you into a green room. You can do a mic check, camera check if you're recording video as well. And then the really awesome thing is that because of this integration that we've built, once you've recorded, you can then take that recording and you're going to click on this Edit in Descript option. That's going to bring all of your files over. It's going to automatically create a project for you. It's going to upload your files. It's going to transcribe for you, so you can go get a coffee, come back, and then your interview will be waiting for you to edit.
Beautiful.
What did I miss, Arielle?
You did not miss anything. Just to set the scene here, this is just your dashboard on SquadCast. We have other sessions where we really deep dive into how to use SquadCast. So we're not going to get into all of that right now. But if you wanted to start a session, you would start that session. Like Harmony said, you would go into your green room and then you would join that session and then be able to record with up to 9 other people in that studio. And then each of those files would be on a separate track. So I saw somebody ask just a moment ago, how many people can be in a session? It is 10 people total. And then you can also have 10 people backstage, which is an interesting way of kind of checking out, kind of giving people maybe a Patreon perk or another way to sort of just be in the background of your recording. So that's really cool. So this is what a session looks like. You want to share anything, Harmony, about that?
No, yeah. I love that you mentioned the backstage. This is a great, I work with a lot of our enterprise customers, and oftentimes they'll need producers to be present for a particular recording. They don't necessarily need to be on camera, but they need to be like in the chat, kind of coaching their on-screen talent. So it's a great use case for the backstage function. But once you're ready to record, you just hit that nice red button. You'll get you'll see in the top of the screen the sort of countdown. You can also share your screen when presenting. And I chose to record audio and video, but there's also an option to record audio only as well. And then once you're done, just leave the session, and that'll take you back to this dashboard.
Awesome.
Cool.
We had a question from Susan that I want to highlight. Can people join that don't have a Descript account? You just invite them?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're just going to, let's say if I wanted to invite Arielle to this this upcoming session, I'm just going to click on share link, and I want to invite Arielle to the stage. So I'm just going to copy that link. I would send it to her, and she would just throw that URL into her browser, and that would launch the session for her. So
and I don't have to pay for that.
Exactly.
I'm just there.
Yeah. No Descript account required.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Lovely. All right, Harmony, I am going to briefly show our agenda one more time. So we just covered how to record into Descript, how to record into SquadCast. Now let's talk about how to bring those files that you have recorded elsewhere, maybe in SquadCast, into Descript and transcribe them, which gets us started in the editing process.
Perfect. Awesome. So we'll jump right in from our workspace here. I'm going to click on a new project, and kind of a best practice when creating new projects, I like to create a project per episode. That way you can keep all of your content, neat and tidy and organized. I'd also recommend creating a folder structure. So maybe you're managing and creating multiple shows. So I create, maybe a folder for each different show, and then you can nest folders for different episodes. So just a little best practice there. So we're going to create a new project. I'm going to click audio project here. And I'm actually going to use a short episode of Arielle's. And so I've just got a WAV file on my desktop. And so I'm just going to drag it into this upload a file zone. So it's just drag and drop. The screen will turn blue. And that'll kick off the transcription process. So this is kind of phase one of getting your material into Descript. In this case, the first step, while we're waiting for it to transcribe, is speaker detection. So that way, once we get our transcript back, we can see who's speaking when. So in this case, there are 2 people that are speaking. And if I'm unsure, I can just click unsure. Right, and we'll say done. And then this last little modal that I'm going to get is an opportunity to listen back to each speaker. So I'm going to say identify our lovely speakers here.
And I'm Arielle Nissenblatt.
Of course.
I wonder who that is.
Of course. Let's see here. Oops. Type in Arielle. Let's add you there.
Okay.
And that's Tim, right?
That's Tim.
Okay. So add Tim, close. And here's the good news. I transcribed this in advance, so y'all don't have to wait around for this to transcribe. So here it is, fully transcribed. And here's this, let's see, it's a 25-minute conversation between Arielle and Tim. I'm just going to go ahead and let's play a little bit of this. How about from here?
You made it. You made it. Welcome to Trailer Park, the podcast trailer podcast. I'm Tim Villegas.
And I'm Arielle Nissenblatt. On this show, we're all about podcast trailers.
Okay. Awesome. So I can see you guys got into SquadCast. You said good morning. How are things going? And the nice thing here is that we can just highlight what we want to get rid of. So I'm going to highlight all of this. And okay. And you'll notice that when you highlight a range of text, you'll get this script toolbar, and there's a ton of power in this toolbar. There's so much that you can do, but one of which we talked a little bit about earlier today, using that ignore or delete function. So you can either ignore that media or you can delete it. Again, in this case, I'm going to take my own tip here and I'm going to ignore it. So that way it'll start right here.
You made it. Welcome to Trailer.
And you notice that Tim said you made it a couple times. So if I liked that first take of you made it, I can, again, just unignore. And then maybe I'll ignore this one.
You made it. Welcome to Trailer Park, the podcast.
Right?
I do like the first one better. Yeah, good call.
I like the first one too. Yeah, it's good. And then as we go through, one tip, and I think Arielle, you shared this on the last event we did, is when you're listening through to your interview, you can change the playback speed. So you might want to, boost this up to like 1.5 or, 1.75. That way you can just kind of speed up that initial review. I noticed that when Tim mentions there's a submission form on their website, he said it a couple times here. So let's take a quick listen.
Question. There's a submission for There's a submission form.
Okay, so that's the take we want. So I had left a comment for myself to remove this section, and this is a great feature, especially if you're collaborating with folks on your edit. So Arielle might go through and give me some feedback, do a kind of a first pass, and so I'll say done, and I can mention other folks that are, if I have collaborators on my account, say done, resolve that, and I'm just going to simply, again, highlight the stuff we don't want, and that, okay, and go from here.
Great question. There's a submission form on our website.
Perfect.
Nice. Sounds good. I also caught this section where we said that then we'll hear a bit from the creator of the trailer. There was some stuff that we didn't need here, so I'm going to highlight all of this.
That's just Tim and I sort of going back and forth, and something that we intentionally were going to cut, but a conversation that we had that was recorded.
Yeah, it was great too, because he had gone into it a little bit, and then you had given him some feedback where you're like, hey, it sounds a little stilted here. Let's go again on that. So another tip is like giving yourself kind of verbal cues, and then if you want to use the search and say like let's see here, run.
All right, I got to run to another meeting, but
you could, or if you can jump to those specific points and times, and then that way it kind of cues you as to where you want to be making those edits. I'm going to jump back up to where we were here, and I'm just scrolling through the document here. So now it'll go from where Arielle says we'll hear a bit from the creator.
Then we'll hear a bit from the creator of that trailer.
We teased this trailer at the end of last week's episode.
Okay. One thing that you guys are noticing probably is that there's these moments where we don't have necessarily transcribed media, but you're seeing these gray dots. What that's indicating is that we have wordless media. It's something that there's sound that has not been transcribed. So you can kind of, at your discretion, remove those additional pauses. And so one thing that Descript automatically does for you through this actions button is you can say, shorten where those word gaps are. So, instead of using removal of filler words, you could say shorten word gaps. You could say find anything longer than maybe like 6 seconds. Okay, and then shorten that down to 3. So what was previously 24 seconds, if we shorten that up, now we're down to 22 seconds and 22 minutes, I should say. And then one thing that was brought up related to removal of filler words, one thing that you can do is in this drop down, we talked about ignoring. You can also just remove them from the transcript, but you'll keep it in the audio. So that comes into play if like you decide to export your transcript like in your show notes and make that available. So you just get a really nice, clean transcript for that purpose. So there's some other options here in that drop down.
Awesome. Just a quick question. This one from Maya, who says, do transcriptions need to be looked over for errors? Talk to me a bit about the transcription accuracy at Descript.
Yeah, great question, Maya. So generally the transcription's pretty good. The better your audio quality, the better your transcription rate's going to be. So generally you'll get about 95% accuracy. So again, make sure you're recording in an optimal setting, pretty good, good microphone if you can. But then there's some things that you can do to improve the overall accuracy. One of those features is if we go up to the top left-hand corner, click on that Descript logo, and then go to Tools. We've got this transcription glossary. So this is a way for you to train the AI, train the robot, and make it a little bit smarter. So I've put in like my last name and Arielle's last name and some common, terms that that come up. And so that way, the next time you record or ingest any recordings, it will train from this glossary. So it's a way to make it smarter. The last thing I will say is I think here it misspelled Castos. So
distributed by Castos.
Okay, so I think Castos is spelled with a C, right?
Yep.
Yep. So you can highlight that, look at your script toolbar, and you'll use this correct option. So in this case, by correcting just the transcript, I can type in the correct spelling, and then if it comes up again in the transcript, I can say correct all. In this case, it's just once, so I'll say correct. And then that way I fix the transcript without affecting the underlying audio. So I would say those are the main things to kind of note. Did I miss anything, Arielle?
No, that's great. So that was bringing your files into Descript and then making edits to your script, your transcript, and your files. I am scanning our Q&A portion of our live event right now, and it looks like Marcelo is crushing it, answering a lot of our questions. So thank you, Marcelo. If there are more questions specifically about this part of our conversation, we will absolutely get to them once we get to the Q&A portion of our chat today. But for now, Harmony, I think we are safe to go on to the next portion. So that is how to add music, sound effects, and other media to your projects.
Awesome. Great. So maybe let's start with bringing in some music. And you can do this a couple different ways. So if you have music already sourced on your laptop or your computer, I'll show you how to do that. But we also have a built-in stock media library that's available to you. You can access that from the media button here. And then if you go into the audio tab, you'll see a bunch of music and sound effects. But let's start with if we have music on our desktop already. So I'm going to pull up. Let's grab some music here. And all you have to do, it's again, drag and drop. So I want the music to start a little bit before Tim starts talking. So I'm just going to drag it right on top of where he said you made it, drop it in. And then you'll notice once it gets added, you'll see this little pin track with this musical notes here. And I'm going to open up my timeline. The reason I want to do this, and I'm going to zoom in, stay with me here. I know the timeline can be a little scary sometimes. And what I want to do is I want to shorten this up. I'm going to click on you made it. I'm going to add a little bit of time, maybe like a couple seconds before he starts talking. So here in the bottom, this is where we have what we call our script track. This is where we have our dialogue, and the second layer represents our music. Now, the music's probably going to be a little loud, and so what I want to do to balance that is I'm going to open up our properties, and I'm going to bring this down just a little bit, just adjust the volume down. Maybe bring it up, but let's listen and see how we're doing.
You made it. Welcome to Trailer Park.
Okay.
I
Cool. So I like the sound of that. That's sounding pretty good. One thing you can do too is, let's say, maybe the music's still too loud, adjust the volume, but we also have this feature called ducking. Whoopsie, come back, properties. We have this feature called ducking, which will automatically bring the volume of the music down so that we can hear the active speaker. So if we turn on ducking, and let's go back to the beginning. Zoom in. Boop.
You made it. Welcome to Trailer Park.
Cool. So notice how the volume of the music came down so that now we hear Tim's voice and it's super present. So that's one way to do it if you already have your music sourced. I'm going to delete that music. And instead, I'm going to go up to our media library. And here you can go into the music tab. There's two. There's music and sound effects. And so maybe let's stay with the jazz fusion theme here. And we can go through and listen and audition to each of these. Soulful Funk Chronicles.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Wow, so many good options here. Let's go with a Soulful Funk Chronicles. I like that. We'll select it. Cool. And so it added it. You can see started right at the very beginning. Again, I might adjust the volume or add ducking. And so kind of do the same thing. I already had ducking on, so I left it toggled on. Let's take a listen.
You made it. Welcome to Trailer Park.
All right. Sounding good.
All right. So it looks
So
like
that's-
we've got a question from Alpha Group Marketing who says, how do you make the music fade?
Oh, great question. Yeah. So if you want to fade it, what you can do, let's say in this case, the music is like lasting, through the first minute or so. Let's say at a certain point, I want to fade it. So I'm going to scoot over here and I'm going to zoom in on my timeline. So let's say I want it to start fading right around where we say, so you'll hear there. So I'm going to click. If I hover over my music here, you'll see this little white ball. Click on it and drag left. So now this is indicating that I want it to start fading at around 50 seconds. So let's take a listen.
A lot of submissions.
So now it's
you'll
fading.
hear a trailer. We keep them short and sweet. Then we'll come back to discuss that trailer. We'll discuss what worked.
So in this case, it's fading over the period of like 10 seconds. So if I want to shorten that up, I can have it now. If I click on that little white ball, maybe I want to have it start fading at around 55 instead. So just click on that little white ball and drag it right or left, depending on how long you want that fade to last.
We had a really great point come in from Side Hustle Hero who says, unless things have changed when I'm working in video, I have to apply studio sound first before adding music. If you do it after, the music is really distorted. What say you, Harmony?
I guess I'd have to listen. I'd have to listen to the project just to be sure. Generally, I like to bring in the main interview. I'll make some edits. I'll apply studio sound and then add music later on. I know our support hero Marcelo also has some thoughts, so he'll probably leave some comments in the Q&A. But what do you think, Arielle? What do you usually do?
Yeah, I think best practice is always to press the studio sound button before you do any of the extra elements. But I also think that we have the privilege right now of having Marcelo on call. So Marcelo, if you want to pop on, we will have you answer this question live, if you'd like.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. What's up? Hi, I'm Marcelo.
up?
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, so I'm pulling up this exact question I can read off the quote here, but they were saying, unless things have changed when I'm working in video, I have to apply studio sound first. So what I was mentioning on, or like starting to type up, is that studio sound can really be applied at like in theory, any point of your editing flow. The reason I wanted to pop on really quick and mention something is because in this comment, it says that like music gets distorted. If like depending on what order of operations you're applying studio sound, studio sound removes music from your file. So like the idea is if you apply studio sound, it is meant to be for spoken word, human speech, and anything that is not that is removed behind the scenes. So like it would be expected if you have, music behind, like in your background on your recording, that is removed, but it shouldn't affect anything else. So like in theory, in the order of operations, you could apply studio sound at any point in your editing, but it would be smart, as one of you mentioned, to like start from the beginning. So like start at the start, because then you can kind of hear what the end result is and you don't have to double back it later. And I would love to pass this off to one of y'all to explain what studio sound is if you'd like, or I could, whatever. But yeah.
Thank you, Marcel. That's such a good point. So thank you for jumping on. But studio sound, what is it? Basically, it's a background noise remover and speech enhancement. So I use studio sound all the time because I live in a noisy house. I have a dog, so I'll turn on studio sound to get rid of like the lawnmower in the background. And then it will also do a little bit of speech enhancement in terms of bringing up the proximity effects, making it sound like you're in a great studio with a really good microphone. And you'll notice that it does really great on really bad audio. So if you record in a state-of-the-art studio with great mics, if you apply studio sound, most likely you'll want to dial down the intensity to, maybe like 10, 20%. Whereas like if you have really poor audio, and I should give you a visual reference here. If you enable studio sound, you can, there we go. Here's where you adjust the intensity. So generally for me, I'm recording on a Shure MV7 USB mic. So at that in that setting, I like to dial this down to like 85, but it's really contingent based on the specific audio that you're working with.
Awesome. Thank
Great
you
question.
for explaining studio sound. And Marcella, thank you for hopping on to help answer that question. We've got about 20 minutes left, so I want to have us zoom through a few more of our agenda items so that we can make sure we leave time for Q&A at the end. We are up to how to use basic AI features to make your editing process quicker and easier. So let's jump on a few of those.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of power in this actions button here. And so if you click on that down at the bottom, you'll see this option to ask AI. So think of this as your friendly AI assistant that is here to not replace you, but just help speed up your workflow and make things a little bit easier in that first edit process. And you'll see it's kind of broken down into different categories here. So you have edit categories like remove all retakes or edit this down for clarity, or one of my favorites, add chapters or markers. So if I say, let's add some chapters, what that'll do is it's going to analyze my 22 minutes of audio and the transcript, and it's going to suggest different chapters. And so it breaks up your longer form content into different sections. Here it's giving me some suggestions so I can scroll through. Yeah, that looks good. I'll add it. And then that way you'll notice once you've added your captions, yes, that was great. I'm going to click on my 3 bars here. So now I can jump down to like maybe crafting the perfect podcast trailer. And that'll jump me to that very specific moment in time in the interview. A couple other ones that are really powerful are this find clip section. So I could say find good clips, find me 5 options, or I could calibrate this to like 3 options. Each clip should be around 30 seconds. And then this is a great way to take longer form content and then repurpose it into shorter form, sort of snackable moments. So you could, pull out a section about the trailer or, whatever it is, and then turn that into a standalone export. One other thing that you can do specifically related to podcasting is you can, let's see here, write up show notes. You could also say, create a couple social posts, or you could summarize this. Arielle, what's kind of like your go-to like few AI actions?
I have been using the remove word gaps forever. That is one of the early discoveries for me when I first started using Descript. When I record, especially by myself, I tend to do a lot of different takes. And between my takes, I like to take a minute, I like to breathe, but I don't necessarily need to listen back to all of that in real time. I am okay with making sure my last take is my best take and then removing those. So I like to remove the silences between, I like to remove the word gaps. I also have been using the social clip finder. And actually on our agenda is how to create social clips for social media. That's actually next up on our agenda. So maybe this is a good time for us to transition over there. So if you do use the Ask AI to find good clips, what would be the point of finding good clips within your larger podcast script, Harmony?
Yeah, so I think like in terms of this sort of basic prompt that you get, I would say like be as specific as possible. So kind of think of this as like a ChatGPT experience where like the more pointed you can be with your prompt, the better, output you're going to get. So I would say, let's calibrate this to, let's just give me 3 options for clips that I can pull from the script. Each clip should be around 30 seconds long. And let's see, I could say like, should include
both speakers, maybe.
Both speakers. Or you could say like, just find me clips of Arielle, just find me clips of Tim. So you, again, calibrate based on your what you're trying to extract.
It's totally customizable, this Ask AI actions within Descript. You can really try a bunch of different things. And then we have this helpful button where you can let us know if that AI action was helpful. And if it was not, you can explain to us why. And we'll behind the scenes be working on how to make it more helpful.
Exactly. And so in this case, it gave me, here's 1, 2, 3. So it's kind of varying lengths. So that's cool. So a couple things. We're going to click on select and script, right? So I can see all 3 instances. Then what I want to do is if I say duplicate to a new composition. So this is saying pull out these 3 clips and put them into their own standalone document, or what we call compositions. So I'm going to say duplicate to a new composition, duplicate all, and it's hidden. There we go. So now I'm going to open up that composition. And so here are those 3 clips. And I can now, let's say I might want to just get rid of that marker. And so this is great. And maybe after going through, I might want to kind of cut this down even further. But in this case, from here, I could like turn it into an audiogram, or kind of cut this into 3 separate clips. So a lot of different ways I can kind of slice and dice it. So using that Find Good Clips option is one way of doing that. One of my favorite ways is, especially if I'm kind of like going through my rough draft, I can highlight sections. If I do this highlighting function, so I could say like maybe my favorite moments of Arielle, or in this case Tim, are purple, and then my favorite moments with Arielle, I'll make you blue, and then I'm going to say copy those highlights, and I can choose which ones I want to copy. So I'm going to say all highlights, and I'm going to pop those into, oops, I don't want to write. I'm just going to right click and paste those. And so now I've just copied and pasted from one document to another. And you can title these your selects. And so in this case, I've got this selects document I can work from. I can go to the clips that I just created via the Find Good Clips. And then I can also jump back to my main interview. The last thing I'll kind of give you is, if I let me find another section here, highlight it, and then use this duplicate to function. So if you just want to like do a quick clip, I like using this for like pulling a one-off clip, duplicate to, new composition. And then I can jump to that. And it's as easy as that. So a couple different ways you can easily pull social clips from your main interview.
Perfect. And then what would you do with those social clips? Can you show us an example of how to bring this into an audiogram?
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's go with this one here. So close that. In the top of my menu here, I'm going to go to my templates, and you can create custom templates. These are pretty much optimized for video, but in the gallery, there's a section specifically for audiograms. So if I click on that, I can choose from a couple different layouts here. Let's just go with this first one because I like the portrait mode's cool. There we go. And so this is introducing a couple new surfaces. So now we have what we call our canvas over here. And so if we play this,
FanList makes it really easy for you to set up that whole system.
Cool.
Go to fanlist.com to learn more.
Awesome. And then I can then kind of customize this from here. So if I click on that text element, I can do things like change the font, I can change the style, so I can change the color of the background, future word color. So I can really like customize this to the look and feel of my brand. So there's a lot that you can do in here in the canvas and the properties.
Awesome. Yeah. And you can also change the asset ratio. So if you wanted it to be vertical, you can make it vertical. If you want to make it horizontal, you can do that. Customize it to your heart's content. And that is just briefly how to make an audiogram. I have in our agenda, and I'm just going to pull that up really quickly, that next up, we're going to briefly discuss video podcasting. Today, we mostly focused on audio podcasting. You could tell because for the majority of our demo, we did not have the canvas up that Harmony just showed us. The canvas, if we were video podcasting, would be showing the people that were involved in the conversation, and any cuts that you would make to the video, to the script, you would also make those cuts to the video. There's a lot of debate to be had around, should you be recording video for your podcast? Should you be putting out video for your podcast? Harmony, what are your thoughts lately? We've done a lot of video podcasting 101. We've done podcasting 101. Do you find that a lot of people are recording and editing video for their podcast in addition to just doing audio?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's actually a really good New York Times article about this the other day, but like some of the considerations that like studios are having to make, and depending on like your staff, your budget, like there's so many different considerations. But one thing that I'm finding is that a lot of teams are recording both their audio and video to, have the flexibility so that if their final output is an audio only episode, but they want to be able to utilize some of the video component, they might pull like clips and use those on social. So publishing to YouTube, publishing to, various channels, so that people like can feel, that more visceral connection maybe to the content, or they can see
Right.
how people are reacting. So I think, again, it's totally up to you, your style. But I do think it is important to be able to record both audio and video. And then if you decide, I'm just going to ditch my video and keep my audio, you have that flexibility down the road. But you've been doing this a long time, Arielle. What's your take?
My take is that I was initially very opposed to video podcasting because personally, I don't tend to consume video when I'm listening to podcasts. I just like to listen. I like to go for a walk or wash the dishes. I don't want my eyes to be engaged. However, I can't deny that a lot of people are discovering podcasts by way of clips on social media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Reels, or YouTube Shorts. And because of that, I am open to the idea that you should be at least repurposing clips from your video that you record on SquadCast, creating those social clips, posting them on social so that you might find a new audience that way. Again, it is very important to be experimenting with this, figuring out what font you want to use, figuring out how to make sure that it's aligned with your brand. There's a lot of experimenting to be had, and you can do a lot of that within Descript. So we do have some video podcasting 101 sessions on our YouTube channel. So you can check those out. You can go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. We'll do another one probably next month. We like to do those pretty often. And with that, I am going to bring up our agenda just one more time so that we can hit our last point here. We have done everything except for export projects. So you've done all your edits. You've added in your music. You've added in your sound effects. You have used your studio sound. Your interview is ready to go. Your podcast is ready to be published. How do you get that from Descript to your desktop and then to your hosting provider, or how do you go directly to your hosting provider?
Yeah. Awesome. So since we were talking about video podcasts, I brought one up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, once you've got it ready to go, in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see this publish button. So this is how you get your content out of Descript. So if we click on that, you've got two options. One is this publish tab, and then the other is this export tab. With publishing, this is kind of speaks to like publishing directly to the hosting site. So for example, if I click in this drop down, I can take this straight out to YouTube, or I could, if I'm storing all of my my interviews in an archive, I can send it straight to Google Drive, or a couple different options here. You'll notice the ones that are grayed out. These are audio only platforms. So just want to note that. And then you can set some privacy permissions here. You can say anyone with a link, or let's say you've got something that's a work in progress. You can share it so that it's project access is required. So a bunch of different options there. Then with the export tab, this is like, hey, I just want to export my audio or video and download it locally to my machine, and then maybe I upload it elsewhere to my hosting destination, or send it somewhere for review. So got a bunch of different options here. So the first tab is video. I can say, let's make sure our resolution is, in this case, it's at 720. Adjust our quality to high. We can then export it. It'll download locally to my machine. Then if I want the audio only version, I can go to that tab, go into my advanced settings if I want to adjust those settings there. Export. I can also export, if you're working with video, GIFs. And then if you also are working with like collaborators that need to go out to places like Pro Tools or Premiere or Audition, Descript plays well with others. So you can edit or export your edit that you've created in Descript and then go out into these other timeline tools. You can also export out transcripts. And I love seeing folks that put their transcript in their show notes for accessibility purposes. And the default format is a docx, but there's some other options here. And then you can also get your subtitles out. So your SRT or VTTs. So a lot of different ways to get your content out of Descript. Arielle, did I miss anything?
Nope. You hit everything, nail on the head. With that, we've got about 6 minutes left. So I want to invite Marcelo up to join us again on stage so we can tackle a bunch of questions that have come in throughout this hour. Marcelo,
Yay.
would you like to join us?
What's up?
He's here. He made it.
Yay.
All right. So Harmony, keep your screen up so that if we need to show any demos, we can continue doing that. But I'm now going to scroll through and find some questions that we can tackle. Here we go. This question comes to us from Audrey Staten, who says, how do you add a song from YouTube? Marcelo, I saw that you answered this in the chat, but I think it's worth mentioning again. How do you add a song from YouTube? Should you add a song from YouTube?
Yeah. So if the question is like, how do I add a song to my, project, or like, how do I add music to Descript? Harmony showed some ways that we can do that earlier. When this question I see a lot in our support channels of like, how do I add a song from Spotify, YouTube, from my music streaming service? We cannot forget that these songs are copywritten. So like, if you want to use a piece of media that is not inside of our stock library, how you obtain that is up to you. It's from YouTube, it's from, wherever you obtain music. But like, if you are going to use something that is not in our stock media library, you would want to make sure that you have, before you publish, like you're either in fair use or like you have the copyright, like the copywriter approval to use that song. And if you get it from YouTube or wherever, cool. But like, how to add a song from YouTube, there's not a way to get us like a link from YouTube, paste it into Descript, and the song appears. If the media is in our stock media library, phenomenal. Use it to your heart's content. If it is not, and it is, let's say, like the latest Taylor Swift single, like get the copyright confirmation before you use it, because I would hate for UMG to be like, you, money, give it to us. So
Yeah. Reach out to T Swift and see if that's cool.
Quite
Yeah,
literally.
she might just say yes. You never know.
Who knows? It's a different time. Like,
Next question comes to us from Bruce, who says, can you do a podcast training on social media clips of video, even though we are only doing audio podcasts? Need examples to view. Do you have any links? Good news for you, Bruce. We have done a social clips webinar just actually a few weeks ago. I think we've done 2 of them, and they are very, very popular. Marcelo, if you wouldn't mind just grabbing a link and putting it into the chat, that would be lovely. But that brings up a good point. If you have a suggestion for any training that you would like for us to do, please let us know. The best way to let us know what kind of trainings you would like is to join us on our Discord. You can scan this QR code over here. We love to chat with you back and forth. So that's where I'm hanging out pretty much all day. Marcelo's there pretty much all day. Our community team is there. Our support team is there. You can share your suggestions with us. So scan this QR code, join us over on Discord, and let us know in the intro channel that you've joined us from this session. I'd love to say hello. All right, that is that. Let's go to a few more questions before we close it out. I am going to pull up this question from Lewis, who says, how do you train AI to make corrections to replicate voice of narration?
Oh, good question, Lewis. Marcelo, do you want to take the first part of this?
yeah. So question is, how do I train AI to make corrections to replace voice of narration? So what we're looking for here is robot my voice to correct things that I might have misspoke or missaid. Let's say I mispronounced the name of a co-host, or like the name of our advertiser. What we would want to do is we would want to if we're going to replace, we're going to create an entirely new word. We're going to use our AI speaker feature, which you can, I'll drop an article for in a sec, but you can use, like Harmony is showing, a backstock of either stock voices that we provide on your account, or a custom voice that you've trained, like of yourself or a co-host, that you can then splice in and manually type out whatever words you'd like, and then the AI version would, or your AI robot voice would speak on your behalf. So again, you're looking for like the AI speaker feature is the technical thing in our help center, which I'll drop shortly. But yeah, Harmony, anything, or Arielle, anything to add to that?
No, you covered it. I think the main thing is, like, if you're creating custom voices, like you'll want to set that up in advance before you can start using it. The training and verification process is pretty straightforward. What I see a lot of the podcast studios use this for is like for ad reads, or to the question of like just fixing a single word, or few words. So it's great for that contextual fix.
Yeah.
While we've still got you here, we're just about to close out, so I am going to bring up our syllabus one more time. We covered everything. You crushed it, Harmony. Thank you. Marcelo, thank you for being in the chat. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. One more reminder that if you are new to Descript, or you are on our free plan currently, please try to claim your free month of Descript Pro. Use code CASTPOD at checkout. I'll pull up the QR code one more time so that you can just scan it and be sent right there. Just scan this QR code, claim your free month, try out some of these tools. We'd love to see what you make with Descript. If you do decide to become a Descript person forevermore, we've got a Discord channel where you can share with us the things that you're making, and we'd love to see what you're making. We love to show you off within our company Slack channel and say, like, these really cool things are being made within Descript. So again, thank you so much for joining. Harmony, thank you. Marcelo, thank you. And we'll be back with more events soon. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss them.
See you guys next time.